We are here at Mega Make Europe Great Again conference. This is the second conference bringing leaders from all over this region. Over 33 countries plus are being represented here today on the heels of one of the greatest comeback stories ever, the victory of President Donald J. Trump. And you really can feel what is happening here. You can in real time experience the unbelievable hope that people have right now. Not only that, but the understanding that this region better get very serious about liberty and freedom if they actually want it back again. And my great friend and guest, David Campbell Bannerman, thank you so much for being with us. You're going to shed a light on what is happening in England, in London. What do they think about Donald Trump winning, the most unlikely victory, and so counter to the culture that's taking root in London and in England right now?
Well, I and my right-wing friends are delighted. It's such a relief. You know, we had a terrible election in Britain. We have a huge Labour government, a huge majority. Conservatives lost 251 seats, MPs, members of Parliament.
How did that happen? Pause for a second. How does that happen when you guys were on such a trajectory, heading towards freedom? Everybody's getting excited. You've got young, ambitious entrepreneurs in this region who are wanting to grow. How do you lose 250 seats?
Well, I'm afraid it was poor leadership. We got rid of Boris Johnson, who had a Trump factor in many ways. He was quite a personality. Wasn't perfect. There was issues like net zero we'd have arguments over. But the Conservatives got rid of him, and then they had Sunak, Rishi Sunak as leader, who, like Starmer, they're really technocrats. They're not politicians, they're technocrats. And they don't really relate to the people, the public. But also you have to remember it was 14 years. Conservatives have been in power for 14 years, since 2010, in coalition with the Lib Dems for 5 years, So there was a sort of time for change element to it as well. But I feel it's like you guys are, like Narnia is what I'm going to say in my speech today, the frozen land and the Lion, Witch and the Wardrobe story. It's like King Aslan has turned up in the form of Trump, warmed up. The ice is melting in America and in Europe. You know, they're going right, they're going the right place. And we're going backwards. We're going back to a frozen land of Narnia with policies from the 70s. We've lost 10,000 millionaires since Labour came in.
Say that one more time. So in this past year alone, in 1 year's time, 10,000 millionaires have fled your country.
Yeah, that's
Probably
right.
headed to America, I'm guessing, largely.
Well, Dubai. I mean,
Dubai.
We're getting people leaving, but this is documented. It's over 10,000 millionaires and 12 billionaires have left Britain under Labour. And they don't realise there's a sort of lack of common sense that if you penalise those that create growth and destroy enterprise, then they're going to stop employing people and they're certainly going to stop investing.
Right.
And I'm afraid this is like going back in time. It's very depressing. I remember it the first time round in the 1970s when Labour policies were a disaster, high tax, high debt. We had to bring in the IMF, International Monetary Fund, to help us out with a loan in the 70s. But we're heading at that again under Labour, where there's no growth, zero growth.
So you were mentioning about the reality that you have all this money leaving, all this industry leaving. So what does that leave the country with? And why are people not wanting, what is the policy that's preventing financial growth?
Well, the Labour government are far more left-wing than Tony Blair was when he was Labour Prime Minister. They are more hard left, which means they want to punish companies. They want to deter wealth creation in many ways, drive entrepreneurs away. They're already having to backtrack on non-doms, non-domiciled, because non-doms bring millions of investment, billions into Britain, and they've made the regime tougher and harder to live in Britain. And Britain has, wonderful theatre, wonderful places to see, a lot of history. It's a very attractive place, but they're making it far less attractive, and these investors are going elsewhere in the world. They are mobile. That's the point. People with money. And one staggering statistic is 27%, nearly a third of all income tax, our main tax in Britain, is paid by 1%, the top 1%. So if the top 1% leave, you've got a 27% hole in income tax, and that means everyone else has to pay more. And we're high tax as a country. We've got to learn from Trump. We've got to get rid of regulation. We've got to get rid of civil servants, too many officials, too much government, big state government is the problem.
I wondered too, there's been a lot of talk, a lot of conversation about multiculturalism and what is happening in your country right now with what they call the grooming gangs. Elon Musk has brought attention to this. How serious is this? You live there. How serious is this? Is it being exaggerated, or is it exactly what they say? Gangs of foreign men, stalking, molesting, assaulting young girls?
I'm afraid there's a lot of documented evidence that this is real. There may be some exaggeration around the edges, but generally it's real. And it's a complete shame. It's an embarrassment to Britain. Elon Musk, I should thank as well. He's a champion of free speech, and I'm chairman of the Freedom Association in the UK. And we prospered in '75 under Thatcher before she became Prime Minister, and we're back in that time frame. But he's done wonders for free speech, and he's highlighted these horrible rape gangs. They're not, groomers or whatever you call them. They are rape gangs. And the problem is a lot of it, the reason they got away with a lot of it, or it's brushed under the carpet, was because they were afraid of being called racist. The police, prosecutors, the media, and that's where we've got to, where we're not speaking the truth. And terrible things are happening because we are pandering, thanks to being too super woke now, to political correctness, and that is totally wrong. And the people have been hurt. Those young girls have been hurt badly, and their families and the community, by this excessive wokeness. And I hope that Trump has come in and created Merry Hell of wokeness, and again Elon Musk is doing great work on that, highlighting that. And I'm so grateful. I speak as a Brit. I feel we are still in the ice age of Narnia. You've got out of it. The sun is shining. It's melting, and we're stuck with this for 4 years or whatever. But at least we can see hope on the horizon through what you've done in America.
Well, I was listening to some of the speakers so far today at the mega conference talking about how exhausted they are of the EU trying to direct and tell people what to do. You helped to lead Brexit.
I did, yeah.
And that was a successful venture. What is the difference between how fast you all can pull yourselves out of this horrendous situation you're in compared to someone who's under the authority of the EU?
Well, we run our own country now, so we can make our own mistakes, and we have too high immigration, and that's now, our mistake or our decision. We could cut it to zero if we wish to. We have zero net immigration. We can make our own decisions, which is why we led the world in Ukraine, because Boris Johnson did, because we didn't have to report to the committee here in Brussels, and have a big discussion, all 27, 28, whatever. So it'd be ideal to have a trade deal. We should get on with that.
We should get on with that.
Yeah.
I hope they're listening right now. London wants to have that trade deal with America, get moving. I want to ask you this though, because if your whole government is bent on policies that prevent production, prevent self-improvement, personal growth, elevating yourself in your stature, how do you create this thriving environment for the young people there who don't have jobs, who are going to university, they're getting these crazy educations, but they can't apply it to anything? What is that process going to look like? If you're making deals with America, that's great, but if the government is bent on creating a society of low level, low opportunity, what can be done about that? I mean, truly.
Well, since Brexit 2016, we created 2 million jobs in the UK. It was great, We've actually been very low unemployment, but now it's going up because Labour introduced, it's called a tax on jobs, it's national insurance on employers, and basically it's a tax on employing people. So, lo and behold, amazing, thousands are now being made redundant, and companies are not investing and they're pulling back. Again, it's crazy left policies, really, that is creating this. But Brexit means we're free in the world. We've joined the biggest trade area in the world. It's not the EU. It's actually the CP, the Comprehensive and Progressive Trans-Pacific Partnership, TPP. It's huge. It's the Far East, but it's also Latin America, and America may join. USA may join, and it's far bigger now than the EU and more significant.
Wow.
But it doesn't require. This city is full of bureaucrats. Musk could have a good look at Brussels. And it is a red tape factory here in Brussels.
Yeah.
It generates all this red tape, and it holds Europe back. And actually, there's a staggering statistic, which is that in the last 20 years ago, the EU and the USA were about the same in terms of GDP per head, the wealth measure. Now, the United States is 50% more wealth per head than then. Now, what's happened? That is just this place making too many laws, too many regulations, holding us all back and driving up the cost of employing people and of doing things. And this is what Musk is going to transform Elon in the United States. And it's what we need in Britain. We need, I'm here to say at this conference, we need a Trumpian agenda, we need a Trumpian movement, and we need a Trumpian manifesto. And whatever that form that takes, Conservative Party, Reform Party, Nigel Farage, we've got to work together on the right to ensure we have a Trumpian future.
Well, President Trump does like to say what is on his mind, and obviously free speech is very under attack here in the UK.
Oh, that's great.
And what do you,
refreshing.
what do you think about the arrests that are being made by people from their social media accounts, the postings that they're doing, even just publicly speaking? I'm understanding, and you can speak to this, whether or not Christians are being able to evangelize on the corners. I mean, is that true? Is that really happening?
I have a friend in Cambridge, Paul Diamond. He's a barrister, and he does a lot of Christian cases. And I've been alerted to a whole number of, supposedly, persecution of Christians in Britain, which stuns me, and in Europe. It's very, very scary because, Alison Pearson was another case, Daily Telegraph writer, who they turned up on Remembrance Day when we're remembering the war dead of our country fighting for freedom. All those people, millions had died fighting for our freedom. And the police turned up about a post, an ex-post that she had done. And I think we are slipping into a police state. It's more getting closer to China. I mean, what I'm saying here at the conference is that, we had a fork in the road. Either the China model, which the EU now is saying if Trump kicked up too much fuss, they all get closer to China. Well, China has a nasty form of communism, and it's not freedom-loving. So there's that direction, going left. Or you do the Trump way, and it's a proper freedom, liberty, opening things up. And thank God, I mean, I'm really incredibly grateful to President Trump for his courage and tenacity and principle and policies and his leadership. I mean, you're seeing real leadership very, very quickly, even before he got in post, that things were happening.
You said, we were talking outside of this conversation about those who are adopting President Trump's principles, his ideas. He's making it common, what's been called right-wing or right-wing rhetoric. Can you kind of elaborate what that culture, what is that like in the UK?
I'm afraid the media, the mainstream media, do a lot of trying to label people of our opinion on the centre-right, I would call us, as far right. I mean, the phrase far right is far right to me means Nazi, and I'm not a Nazi. I'm a freedom loving. I don't want to lock people up, oppress them, and it's really insulting and it's really ill-judged. And the point is, these people don't realise they've judged it wrong until someone like President Trump, wins all 7 swing states and the popular vote. And suddenly they realise they're humble because they realise they're in a minority.
Yeah.
And that's what needs to happen in Britain. I mean, Keir Starmer, our Prime Minister, I believe in democracy. He was duly elected, but only because a lot of Conservatives did not vote. They went on strike, our vote, or they went to reform. They actually tried reform, and many more may try reform. It's a threat to the Conservative Party, but it wasn't a huge endorsement. He got a lower Labour vote than last time under the Marxist Jeremy Corbyn. So it's not a ringing endorsement, and he could well lose badly in 4 years' time.
I'm confused how a country like yours has gone from, you have the monarchy, and then you have this, the monarchy effectively is not really in power, they're just a figurehead now, so you set up this government that's supposed to have checks and balances, be representative of the people. How are the people voting for Marxists and communists and for socialist reform? Do you think that's actually happening, or do you think that there's any chicanery in the voting system?
I do think it's happening, but I think it's been done cleverly and in a sinister way. But it's the march through the institutions. It's the old Marxist technique, and what it's education. It's the BBC. It's the media. It's the lawyers even. The lawyers used to be conservative, right-wing 25 years ago. Tony Blair made them very left, and they've become more and more left. Human rights lawyers are in the top of the tree. We've got to fight back. I mean, the battle is not just in Westminster or local elections or whatever it is. It is actually right across the board. Culture wars do exist, and they've got to be won. And the right isn't very good at winning, like in Hollywood.
Right.
For example, Hollywood is relentlessly left-wing and pretty deluded when it comes to politics. It's well out of touch. But you've got to win battles there. You've got to win them over, because they are entrepreneurs, many people in Hollywood. Yeah. They are great people, they've got a lot to offer. But, the right needs to work on all of these areas right across the board, and education, healthcare. We have a lot of battles to fight to show we care about people on the right, but we have better ways of doing it.
Yeah. At the end of the day, too, I think this generation that's coming up, we've got what we've been talking about, the alpha generation. Kimberly Fletcher will be talking about it with Moms for America today. Yeah. This desire for boundaries and restraint, again, from this young generation that's coming up. Are you witnessing that in your country also, that there's a return to religion, a return to virtue, really?
I think there should be. I wouldn't say there's a huge evidence of it. I think church attendance is dropping. Though the Catholic Church is doing better than Church of England. The Church of England is too woke, too left-wing. We've got problems, which and I apologise because as Episcopalians, we do set the trend in many ways, which we saw in the appalling attack on Trump by the Bishop of Washington.
She was fired. She was defrocked. She was so rejoice with us. Yeah.
Well, I rejoice. I'm sorry. That is politics in the pulpit. But no, you're right about boundaries. I think the problem in modern society is a lack of boundaries, because people don't go to church enough, and that they gave boundaries. Teachers are pathetic often. They're ruled by the children, or the parents rule the roost. We've got to get back to discipline in schools. Old-fashioned stuff in many ways, maybe more military service, getting back to work, tackling welfare. That 1 in 4 youngsters don't want to work in the UK, apparently.
That is very likely, actually. It's a pleasure speaking with you and hearing more firsthand of what's actually going on.
Always lovely to see you.
And I'm looking forward to your speech.
And thank you, by the way, for your courage, personally, fighting for Trump and all you've done, and these guys here. Because a year ago, it's a very different picture. Yeah. And I salute your personal courage. It takes personal courage from individuals to do this. It's not just down to Trump. So partly your victory.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, David Campbell Bannerman. You'll hear more from him at the mega conference. Please make sure you guys are tuning in. This is history being made right now. We are setting the tone for the world, America. We'll be right back.